What's going on, everyone? So welcome to my latest video. This is obviously part of a series where I focus on Academy Award Best Picture nominees from a certain year and rank them from worst to best. Done such years in the past such as 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, and now finally you clicked on this video so you know it. This time around I am focusing on the 2008 Academy Award Best Picture nominees and ranking them from worst to best. Just like all those other years, there were 5 Best Picture nominees, so I'll be ranking them from 5 being worst to 1 being the best, and of course, my humble opinion. And I will say this year was kind of special because this was the last year in which there was only 5 Best Picture nominees. There was a certain little film that came out called The Dark Knight, where that film implemented it to be where Academy voters decided, hey, we're going to have it where you can nominate up to 10 Best Picture nominees. So that will start in 2009, but obviously 2008, there were again 5. So guys, enough exposition. Let's get started. So kicking things off with number 5, we have The Reader. Kate Winslet, it's no secret, is top 3 actresses for me. Might even be my favorite actress, and she's great in the film. But this is just an overall very emotionally muted film. Like I really wasn't that invested watching this film. I think that it has some scenes that are interesting for sure. It's very well acted. It's got some dreary cinematography that is fitting, I suppose, given the theme, but the themes and messages, I should say. But overall, it's just a movie that I thought was just okay-ish. But if there are some people that have this higher up on the list, I can understand that. But me, I just found it to be very drab, and not in like a Fincher-esque kind of way. You know, it's more of like a okay, well, one-time kind of viewing experience. But yeah, that's why it's my number 5. Next up, my number 4 is Milk. So Milk, I liked. I thought it was very well acted. I thought Sean Penn did an incredible job in the lead performance. Sure, it hits some of the biopic cliches that one would expect, but it also is a very emotionally impactful film, for sure. Even if you don't know the true life story of the lead character, it's still something that when watching the film, how it unfolds and everything is really well done. It is a good film. Honestly, I've been itching for a rewatch. It's definitely a film I look forward to revisiting. But yeah, Milk, it's a good film. That's why it's my number 4. Next up, my number 3. I gotta say, it pains me because my number 3 is a film that for a long time it was my number 1, but that changed recently in the last couple of years. But my number 3 is Slumdog Millionaire. This is the one that won Best Picture, and if you had told me years ago, I would have said, yeah, it's well deserved. Like, don't get me wrong, I think The Dark Knight is my personal favorite of 2008. I know that's it's kind of cliched at this point to say, but I gotta say, I love The Dark Knight. What can I say? Slumdog Millionaire, though, when I revisited at the beginning of the pandemic, there were issues in it that I think that maybe I was just kind of blind to all the other viewings. Like, I think I was just more about the emotional impact on the characters and just the score, like how, emotional it is and how, it's a very entertaining film. And all those things are still ringing true. I just have to say, the editing style, I just found it to be monotonous. Honestly, it was very exhausting. And not in like a boomer kind of way where it's like, oh my goodness, you weren't able to follow the editing, so it means, you're just getting old. Not really, because I also rewatched The Bourne Ultimatum around the same time, which has even more edits. I just think that with Slumdog Millionaire, I think that this film excelled when it wasn't that, exhausting kind of editing style. I think that it winning Best Editing was kind of not a failure, but something that just hasn't really aged that well, in my personal opinion. And I also think that some of the elements also haven't aged too well. That being said, it's a very entertaining film. I don't want people to get the impression that I don't like Slumdog Millionaire. I mean, for crying out loud, I own it on Blu-ray. This is a film that I still quite liked. Again, it's very engaging. It's very entertaining. Danny Boyle did a really good job of directing. I have some issues now. It is not the near masterpiece that I used to look at it as. But it's still a film that I like, I respect. Just don't think it should have won Best Picture. But yeah, that's my number 3. My number 2, I can see some people having this lower on their list, and I guess I can respect that. But my number 2 is Frost Nixon. I like this film a lot. I think that the main banner between Michael Sheen and Frank, I gotta look at his name because I know I always butcher names. Frank Langella. I probably butchered that right there, but his chemistry with Michael Sheen is just so good. I loved their banter back and forth. Hans Zimmer's score isn't memorable by any means, but it does work with the imagery on display. It's very well shot. Again, very well acted, and it also is a film that, in terms of the themes and messages, it's quite intriguing, for sure. I like this film quite a bit, and that's why I own it. And I do have to give a shout out to my friend Kevin, because he is actually the one that wanted me to watch this years ago, and he actually showed it to me, and I liked it a lot, so much so that I ended up picking it up at the record store, and I revisited it a second time, like last year or so, and I liked it even more. It's well, I shouldn't say as more. I liked it probably as much, but the themes I found that I liked even more. But yeah, this is my number 2. I really liked it. Next up, my number 1, and I guess this will show my inner Fincher fanboy in me, but I don't really care because I like this film a lot. But my number 1 is The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Now, you want to talk about a full circle arc. This film, years ago, I'll never forget, I watched it, I want to say in late 2012 or 2013, but regardless, I saw this film and I wasn't a big fan of it. I thought that it was solid, but I thought that it was going to be just like a one-time viewing. And around the same time, like, I would say months later, I watched Slumdog Millionaire, and I was like, yes, Slumdog Millionaire is like a lot better. And it's funny how the tables have kind of turned, because now I say to myself, no, Curious Case of Benjamin Button is a lot better. I think that it's a film that, maybe it's because I wanted to revisit Fincher's films and I decided to revisit this as well. But I saw it at the record store and I said to myself, a Criterion movie that's $4, I'm picking this up. So I picked it up and I watched it, and it was just a more impactful experience. And then I revisited it this time last year, I would say, and I liked it even more. I can't get the ending out of my head. I really can't. I think that it is so sad, so emotionally devastating, but it also just kind of showcases that if you have the right writer with the right director, you can have a great film. Because this is the same writer that did Forrest Gump, and I didn't like Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump was the opposite effect, where I watched it the first time, thought it was solid, and then I rewatched it and I liked it a lot less, to the point where I thought it was disappointing. Versus Curious Benjamin Button, I thought it was solid, and I think that's a really good film. Just goes to show that Eric Roth, when he works with the perfect kind of director such as Fincher, it works really well. What's interesting about this film is that Fincher is known for having like invisible visual effects, where, like, you know, there's a lot of CGI in his films, but you can't tell. Here, there is obviously CGI. Like, it's in the forefront in terms of Benjamin Button himself. But to be honest with you, I think that it's aged quite well. I think that it's kind of interesting how you look at Benjamin Button and then you look at like some of, like, let's say the MCU CGI, and it's like, oh wow, like a movie from 15 years ago has a lot better CGI than a movie like now, such as, like, I don't know, Ant-Man 3 or Thor 4. So it's just kind of interesting. And I gotta say, I think Curious Case of Benjamin Button's aged very well. I really like it, but I know for some this might be like number 3 or 5 or whatever, but I love Curious Case of Benjamin Button, and that's why it's my number 1. But yeah, guys, those are my personal ranking of the 2008 Best Picture nominees. Let me know your ranking for the 2008 Best Picture nominees down below. And guys, once again, I appreciate you guys watching with the subscription, notification bell, follow me down Letterboxd, and I will catch you guys later.